Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey of My Mother's Son podcast. Sandy, how are you today?
Great. How are you?
Wonderful. So, the last time that we left you guys, we were finishing up the Redwoods, and from there, we went into Oregon. I did a book signing in Brookings, Oregon. We had dinner with friend Eliza Hava, and then went up the coast. Did it quick, but it was beautiful.
It was.
It's definitely a spot we got to go and take more time.
Yeah, it is. In Oregon? That would be great.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to do California again, but that's another story.
So we basically did the coast in 2 days because we were heading to Long Beach, Washington to see our friend Ron McCoy, who we stayed with back in 2021. So we really did do it quick.
It was.
But we saw a lot of stuff. We stopped at the cheese factory there.
Mm-hmm. Watched how they made cheese. They were actually working while we were there.
Yeah.
So you could view from up through the window up on the second floor.
Very cool. Got to Long Beach. We were there for 4 days, 4 nights. Got there Sunday, left Thursday, and made our way to Spokane, Washington, where I did another book signing on our way to Great Falls. Because as you know, we've talked about it in several of our other shows. We were getting ready to meet our group in Great Falls to head to Canada. So we actually got there on a Sunday, 2 days before most of the rest of the group was going to arrive. And that was basically just to kind of get our feet under us. We'd been traveling quite a bit.
Well, we were on the road a lot.
Yeah, so it gave us time to get laundry done and supplies and all that fun stuff that you got to mix in while you're traveling on the road. So we were there. Our friends started arriving. One couple arrived a day earlier than we had thought, so that was a nice surprise to see them on Monday as opposed to Tuesday. And then everybody else started rolling in throughout the day on Tuesday, and we just got together. Our grandson joined us there. He had completed his roughly 2,200 mile trek from Pennsylvania to Great Falls to meet
Montana.
us, which was super cool to have him come out and join us,
Right.
and going to be on this Canada-Alaska adventure with us. It's going to be so much fun. So on May 30th, we left Great Falls as a caravan, crossed the Canadian border later in the afternoon.
That was really exciting because we got to see the Rockies and Canadian Rockies.
Yeah.
When we had many stops along that way, that ride.
Yeah, we crossed the border. We just boondocked in Fort McLeod for a night, and then we made our way up. We stopped in High River, Alberta, to see some of the sets of Heartland. Sandy and I are big Heartland fans over the years, so it was cool to see Maggie's Diner and some of the stuff there. And just a cool little town. High River is just a cool little town.
It's a quaint little town, yes. Went into Marshall's store, which Amber Marshall owns.
Right, that was in Diamond Valley.
And then we also got to enjoy the festivities that day.
Yeah, there was Discovery Day in Diamond Valley.
So it was a lot of...
Diamond Valley is actually the towns of Black Diamond and Turner Valley merged a little while ago, and the discovery there, the celebration of Discovery Days was of oil. So we walked up to what would have been Black Diamond, right, about 2 miles.
To watch a parade. I guess it's a yearly parade.
Yep, this is an annual festivity.
Yeah.
And then we came back down, and they just had a big festival, food vendors, all kinds of vendors. Very cool.
Things for kids, just informational.
Yep.
Very informational booths, it was great.
Yeah,
it was a fun day that we didn't expect to have. And we were right there in the campground.
Yeah, very cool. Right next to our campground.
Yes.
So we could walk to Marshall's store, we could walk to the festival, grab some stuff to eat there. It was just really, really fun time. And again, Diamond Valley, nice, cute little town in Alberta.
Right.
So that was a lot of fun. And then from there, we left in the morning to head up to Banff National Park. And that's when we got our first glimpse of the Canadian Rockies coming across Alberta. And again, just absolutely magnificent. Similar to when we first saw the American Rockies, as they just grow in the distance, was really, really cool.
And that campground was really nice. So,
Yes, it was.
And it was just neat. It was a national park, so.
Yeah, and our first full day there, the group went up, took a bus up to Lake Louise and Lake Moraine, and again, just
blue water.
the bluest of
just
blues.
Turquoise blue. It was just fabulous.
Yeah, so cool just to see that. It would have been nice. It would have been a little sunnier, but it was
and
kind
warmer.
of overcast.
And the
wind
was kicking in.
Yeah, once we went up to Lake Moraine, like it was cold. Like it was really cold and windy. Part of the lake was still frozen, which is bizarre because at this point it was June 2nd, I believe.
And then they said it was an unseasonably cold.
Spring.
What they're used to, and this was the not normal.
Yeah. So it was, but just the beauty was incredible, and seeing snow-capped mountains. We talked for a long time about wanting to see snow-capped mountains. Well, we got our fill and then some of snow-capped mountains as we hit the Canadian Rockies for sure. The day we left Banff, we went to Johnston Canyon. And did a hike at Johnston Canyon Falls, which again was
beautiful.
The first of many beautiful waterfalls that we've seen throughout Canada so far. But again, that was about a 2-mile hike in, which was pretty cool. Went up there. Trail was in really good shape. I don't think we even wore hiking boots for that. And again, once we got there, it was just a beautiful hike for sure.
It was very pretty.
So once we left the falls, we went up the Icefields Parkway on our way to Jasper National Park. And
by now, it was still windy.
Yeah.
It was windy and it was cold.
Yeah, and
there was ice out there on the fields.
Yeah, and that was another trip that, regular Google drive time is 3 hours, and I think we turned it into about a 6 or 7 hour
because we stopped
trek because we stopped at all the turnouts that we could, and just take it all in. Finally, once we got to the Icefields Visitor Center, we were about an hour away from our campground. We still had to grab a few groceries in the town of Jasper before we checked in. And we were just like, all right, we just can't stop anymore. We gotta make it to the campground.
You always say that, it's going to take this much time, but we don't, you don't account for all the stops of the beautiful scenery or pull-offs or whatever, just to get some pictures.
Yeah.
So it always doubles our time at least.
So that was awesome for sure. The town of Jasper itself is just a cool little town. I personally like it better than Banff.
So do I.
Wasn't nearly as commercial.
Yes, they were Banff was very touristy.
Yeah.
Shops all over. And
Jasper was just a little bit quieter, a little bit more homey feel.
It was.
So we got there the first day. Sandy and Alex drove into town, and I hiked into town, met them there, and we just kind of spent several hours just walking around some of the little shops and stuff like that. Again, just super cool little town for sure. Our last day in Jasper, as we were heading out, we went up and did the Jasper Sky Tram. But before that, almost forgot, we saw our first bear.
Yes,
in
just driving, I think we saw.
Yeah, we were heading to. We did a hike, five bridges hike, there in Jasper, and the first bear we saw was just outside the parking lot, eating his berries.
Just alongside the road, didn't care.
Not even bothering.
And then later we saw a moose down in the river. It was very far away, so we really couldn't
and then
get
on
a good shot.
Our next drive, we we saw a bear literally walking right along the side of the road, just not a care in the world, just kind of moseying on by. It was just so cool to see that for sure. But and like I said, our last day, we ended up going up and doing the Jasper Sky Tram, which we had debated whether or not we wanted to spend the money and do it. But at the end
It
of it,
was
we
well
were
worth
super,
it.
super
It was
happy that we did it.
beautiful.
I did a little bit of a hike, not all the way up to the summit there. Alex and Cooper did a hike a little further than I did there. But once you got up on top of that peak there, man, it was, again, cold and
Beautiful.
windy. I think
And
when we got in
still
this,
snow in there,
yeah,
but when we got in the car, the gondola, it was. I thought, oh, I might mind this, but it you don't mind it because the guide that's in there with you. She tells you a little history on the plate on the area, and it was the smoothest ride.
it was really
It
smooth.
was. You didn't even feel it like going up.
They did a good job with that for sure.
They did, and yes,
We and the temperature difference from where you get on the tram at the bottom of the mountain to the top is like 15 degrees Fahrenheit colder at the top. So, you know, I'm normally a guy to wear shorts, but I actually did not wear shorts that day. I bundled up and made sure I was dressed for the weather we were going to get at the top of that. But it was a really super cool experience for sure. So then from Jasper, we started to make our way up to Dawson Creek. To get our picture taken at the start of the Alcan Highway. Made a couple stops along the way, a couple campgrounds there. We didn't actually take the Alcan. We're not taking the Alcan to Alaska from there because we were taking a detour into Yellowknife. But Dawson Creek, again, cool little town. We're just there for a night, stayed in the Walmart parking lot.
right.
But got our picture taken at the start of the Alcan, and then we'll hop onto the Alcan and Whitehorse. To make our way to Alaska next month. So from Dawson Creek, we made our way up to the 60th parallel.
We stopped there.
Stopped at
pictures,
the visitor center.
Talked to the clerk there.
Yeah.
Her and her husband.
Her and her husband worked there. Super, super nice people. And we crossed the 60th parallel, which I never thought I would do in my lifetime.
I never even heard of it, so I think we're good there.
But
just to do that.
It was, again, once we got there, though, we experienced horseflies that were the size of small aircraft. They were
they were something to be seen.
And in the Northwest Territories, it's
I guess
a lot of horseflies.
Yes.
A lot of horseflies.
And they say it's from
big.
the emission, the carbon monoxide or whatever on the vehicles. They like to cling, so.
Yeah, so when you first get into a campground, they're literally swarming your vehicle because of the CO2 that's coming out. And then they settle down a little bit, but there's still,
I have to
there's
say,
still a lot there.
None of them landed on me and bit me like you.
Yeah, I got a bite for sure. So once we made it into the Northwest Territories, we stayed at Twin Falls Territorial Park, which beautiful campground. Outside of the 4 rigs in our group,
there weren't many people.
Our first night there were 2 other RVs in the campground, and our second night there was 1 other RV in the campground. That whole area has just been ravished by wildfires recently, so I think that's part of why that wasn't quite as busy as it normally is. But we did get to do a hike to.
That was a nice campground. It really was. It was peaceful. It was really woodsy, and we did get to see. There was a mama bear.
We didn't see the mama bear and her 2 cubs, but several others in our group did, including our grandson Alex, who went and got some pictures of them. But we did do a beautiful hike there to Louise Falls and Alexandra Falls.
Well, we got to walk out on the ledge because it was low. It was.
Yeah, we were right there next to the falls. It was super, super cool. Never been that close to a waterfall of that size in my life.
We've been under the Niagara Falls, but
but
that's a little different.
Yeah, it was more controlled there. This was just kind of on our own, moseying around the edge of the waterfall, which was pretty cool. So So yeah, we've been super busy this past month, and this trip through Canada is going to keep us on our toes
Yes.
for sure. So we're trying to give as many highlights of the trip as we can, but yet still keep the shows
Mm-hmm.
compact and time sensitive.
Yes.
So our next trips will be up into Yellowknife, which will be, you know, be pretty cool. We'll actually end up experiencing the
Wow.
summer solstice while we're in
Yes.
Canada. It's already bizarre just to be up at
Here,
11:30 at night and the
still
sun
light.
hasn't set yet.
Still light.
And then
And,
the
and then it's light again at 3:30
yeah
already.
yeah. So
So,
we've yet to stay up all night, but
well,
you
it's
know, even past the couple late nights we've had, you know, even after sunset, obviously it's not completely dark. So I'm
right,
interested if I decide to pull an all-nighter at some point to see how dark it
right,
actually gets before sunset, and I may do
right.
that. We'll see.
It's
Um,
always easy to fall asleep, but waking up, we usually wake up early because of the light hitting
yeah,
in the
we have
RV.
pretty dark blinds, but the light still gets in. So
Right.
if you do wake
And
up, like it's tough to fall back asleep then at that point. So, but we've been dealing with it. I certainly
right.
can't say I'm sleep deprived on
No,
this
I'm
trip
not.
at
I'm
all.
not either.
So, but yeah, so Canada's been exciting.
It's beautiful,
Can't
and
wait
it
to get
was
to
all the
Alaska.
yeah,
Um, I mean, the
yeah,
beauty is just like the U.S. I mean, it's a beautiful country. There's just so much beauty for us to partake of if you take the
it
time
is.
to check it out. And
Even
thankfully,
little things.
yeah, thankfully we're able to do that and you know enjoy the
Mm-hmm.
moments that we have. And traveling
Right.
with this group so far has been
It's
so
really
cool
nice.
to be able to share that with, and having our grandson with us and his pup to have another you know canine companion a little bit around.
Although he's a
Um,
little bit smaller than Yuke
a
was.
little smaller than Uke,
And
a lot more
different.
energy right now than
Yes.
what Uke had. Although you know Uke had
Yes.
never really slowed down up until the
No.
very end as well. He always kind of had that puppy feeling, but it's definitely nice to have another
Right.
canine companion around, bouncing around the RV here and there at times. So
Yeah.
um,
Yes.
yeah, so till next time, you know, we can't wait to share the rest of this Canada and Alaska journey with you guys. It's just it's been the trip of a lifetime so far, and like I said, we're only you know a
Not even
couple
a
weeks
month.
in
Yes,
when
we're
we
not even a
recorded
full
this
month.
one. So
Although it seems like we've been here longer.
just so
It
much that we've
does.
seen in a short amount of time.
Yes.
So, so as always,
Okay.
folks, you know, be sure to check out my other podcasts and blogs at journeymymotherson.com. While there, please check out my Pay It Forward program where you can buy a book and we'll have it donated. We did the first one actually in Great Falls, where my good friend Dave Poland he was the first one to jump on board with the Pay It Forward program. So we wanted to make sure we documented that he, you know, his book was donated at the library in Great Falls RV Park. So check that program out. Love to have you participate. And you know, as always, you know, stay safe and always enjoy the journey.
Peace.